I had just retired when my daughter-in-law called. I am going to leave my 3 children with you. After all, you do not do anything anymore, so you can take care of them while I travel." I smiled and cut the call short. I decided to teach her a lesson she would never forget. When she returned from her trip, the children hid behind me. The silence that followed was deafening. In that moment, while the phone was still trembling in my hand, I made the most important decision of my 67 years. I decided to give her a lesson she would never forget. But let me tell you from the beginning, because what happened when she came back from her trip, when the children hid behind me, the silence that followed was deafening. That was just the end of a story that began much earlier. My name is Emily Miller. 35 years teaching at Lincoln Elementary had prepared me to deal with difficult children, complicated parents, and impossible situations. But nothing, absolutely nothing, had prepared me for Jessica. That afternoon, I was sitting in my living room enjoying my second day of retirement. Do you know what it is like to work since you were 22 and finally at 67 have time for yourself? I had waited for this moment my entire life. My table was full of brochures, the Grand Canyon, Yellowstone, Napa Valley, places I always dreamed of visiting but never could, because first it was raising Michael alone after his father died in that bus accident, and then it was years of sacrifice to pay for his education. The phone rang at 4 in the afternoon. I saw Jessica's name on the screen and hesitated to answer. Whenever she called, it was to ask for something. Emily, she started without even saying hello. She never called me mother-in-law, much less mom. I have an incredible opportunity in Miami. It is a multi-level marketing conference that is going to change our lives. Multi-level marketing. Another one of her pyramid schemes where she always lost money. The kids cannot miss 2 weeks of school. She continued, "So I will leave them with you." "Excuse me?" My voice came out like a whisper. "Oh, do not play deaf. I told you I am going to leave Jacob, Sarah, and Noah with you. After all, you do not do anything anymore, so you can take care of them while I travel. It is perfect now that you do not work. You have all the time in the world. I do not do anything anymore." I felt my blood boiling. This woman who never worked an honest day in her life, who lives off my son like a parasite, was telling me that I did nothing. "Jessica, I have plans." "Plans?" She laughed with that high-pitched laugh I detested so much. What plans can a retired old lady have? Knitting? Watching soap operas? Please, Emily, do not be ridiculous. I am dropping them off tomorrow at 7 in the morning, and do not give them junk food like last time. Last time? The last time I saw my grandkids was 6 months ago at Christmas, and only for 2 hours because according to her they had to go to their other grandparents' house, the important ones, the ones with money. I am not going to babysit them, Jessica. What do you mean, no? You are their grandmother. It is your obligation. Besides, Michael agrees. Lie. My son did not even know about this, I am sure. He worked 14 hours a day at the factory to maintain this woman's whims. If you want to see your grandkids ever again, you better cooperate, she threatened, because I decide if they have a grandmother or not. And that was when something inside me broke, or rather something inside me woke up. If you knew me, you would know that Mrs. Miller never stayed silent before an injustice, and this woman had just declared war on me. "Fine, Jessica," I said with the sweetest voice I could fake. "Bring them tomorrow. That is how I like it, and do not spoil them. You know they are difficult children, but that is because you never knew how to raise Michael. If he had had a decent mother—" I hung up before she finished the sentence. I sat there looking at my retirement certificate framed on the wall. 35 years, shaping generations, and my own daughter-in-law treated me like a free servant. But if I learned anything in all these years, it is that the best lessons are not taught with words. I took my cell phone and dialed a number I had not used in years. "Linda? Yes, it is Emily. I need your help. Do you remember what you told me about the hidden recorders you used in your divorce?" "Uh-huh." "Perfect. And another thing, is your sister still working in Child Protective Services?" "Excellent. I hung up and poured myself a chamomile tea. Tomorrow the real education would begin, but it would not be for the children. Jessica was about to learn the most important lesson of her life. Never ever underestimate a retired teacher with free time and a desire for justice. If you are liking this story and want to keep discovering how a determined grandmother can change the destiny of a whole family, subscribe to the channel so you do not miss any detail of what is to come. Because believe me, this is just beginning. That night, I could not sleep. While I tossed and turned in bed, memories of 35 years hit me like waves against rocks. How did we get to this? How did I allow my own family to treat me like an old piece of furniture that only serves when they need it? It all started when Michael was barely 3 years old. His father, my David, left one rainy October morning for a business trip. The bus went off the road on the highway curves. What an irony, right? 23 dead. David was passenger number 24, but he survived 3 days in the hospital. 3 days in which I spent our savings of 5 years trying to save him. Take care of our son were his last words. Make him a good man. And boy, did I try. I was left with $50 in the bank account, a 3-year-old boy, and a teaching degree. The first years were a hell I do not wish on anyone. I worked double shifts morning at the public school afternoons, giving private tutoring. Michael ate before me. If there was money for shoes, they were for him. If there was enough for a toy on his birthday, I pretended I was not hungry that night. My mother, God rest her soul, used to tell me, "Emily, you are going to kill yourself working like this. Find another husband, someone to provide." But I looked at my Michael with those brown eyes just like his father's, and I knew no stepfather was going to love him like I did. No strange man was going to give him the love I could give him. So I kept going alone. The sacrifices were endless. I remember one Christmas when Michael was 8. I had saved for 6 months to buy him the bicycle he wanted so much. On Christmas Eve, while he slept, I realized I did not have money for Christmas dinner. I sold my only ring that was not my wedding band, a family heirloom, for $20, just to make a proper roast dinner. Michael never knew. For him, his mother was invincible. His mother could do anything. And that is how it had to be. When he reached high school, expenses multiplied. Books, uniforms, bus fare, supplies. I continued with my double shift, but now I also sold homemade cookies on Sundays at the church. My hands look at my wrinkled hands stained with swollen joints from kneading dough at 4 in the morning. But it was all worth it when Michael got into college, industrial engineering at the State University. Pride overflowed me. My son, the son of the widow Miller, the one who grew up without a father, was going to be an engineer. It was in his 3rd year when Jessica appeared. "Mom, I want you to meet someone special," he told me one Sunday after church. There she was with her pastel pink dress, her perfect smile, her shiny black hair falling in waves over her shoulders. She looked like a porcelain doll. She hugged me with a warmth that completely disarmed me. "Oh, Mrs. Miller, Michael has told me so much about you. I admire you so much. Raising such a wonderful son alone, you are my hero. How was I not going to fall into her trap? I, who had spent 20 years without a sincere hug that was not from my son, suddenly had this pretty little girl calling me a hero. The first years were good, I am not going to lie. Jessica came to the house, helped me cook, told me about her humble family. Her father was a construction worker, her mother sold sandwiches. That is why I understand you so much, Mrs. Miller. You and I know what it is to struggle. Lies. Everything was a lie, but I was so happy to see Michael in love that I did not want to see the signs. They got married when Michael graduated. I paid for half the wedding with my retirement savings. It is an investment in my son's happiness I justified to myself. Jessica cried with emotion, or so I thought then. Now I know she cried because she expected a more luxurious wedding. The change was gradual, like poison administered in small doses. First were the subtle comments. "Oh, mother-in-law, what a pity Michael did not have a father figure. It shows in his lack of ambition. If you had saved better, Michael would have studied at a private university." Do not be offended, but your cookies are very simple. I make them with more ingredients, more gourmet. Each comment was a small stab, but I endured them. For Michael. Always for Michael. When Jacob, my first grandson, was born, I thought things would improve. I ran to the hospital with the blanket I had knitted for 9 months. Jessica looked at it and put it aside. Thanks, but we already have everything from Nordstrom. We can donate it. Nordstrom. While I kept buying my clothes at the thrift store to save for my son's future, she shopped at Nordstrom with Michael's salary. Then came Sarah and Noah. With each grandchild, I was pushed further away. Jessica had 1,000 excuses. The children needed routine. I would spoil them. My house was not safe for children. My parenting ideas were old-fashioned. You just do not understand mother-in-law, she told me once. Kids these days need early stimulation English classes, swimming, robotics. Not just meat and potatoes like Michael grew up with. Meat and potatoes? My son grew up with love, with values, with the certainty that he was loved. But Jessica had started her campaign to alienate me and Michael. Michael was too tired from working to notice. The hardest blow came 2 years ago. It was Sarah's 5th birthday. I had saved for 3 months to buy her the dollhouse she had seen at the mall. I arrived at her house with the wrapped gift and my best dress. The party was in the backyard. There was a bouncy castle clowns, even a princess show. And I was not on the guest list. Oh, mother-in-law, what a shame, Jessica said at the door without letting me in. It is just a party for school friends and their parents. You understand it is different people. We do not want you to feel uncomfortable. Uncomfortable? The birthday girl's grandmother was going to make different people uncomfortable? I saw Michael in the background playing with the kids. He did not look up. He knew I was there and did nothing. I left with my dollhouse and cried all the way home. That night, I donated it to an orphanage. At least there it would be appreciated. And now, after all this, after years of humiliation and rejection, Jessica wanted me to be her free nanny, as if all the pain she caused me could be erased with a snap of fingers when she needed me. But what Jessica did not know is that Mrs. Miller had learned much more than math and English in 35 years. I had learned child psychology. I had studied dysfunctional families. I had seen hundreds of cases of narcissistic mothers who used their children as weapons. And above all, I had learned to wait for the perfect moment to act. I looked at the clock 3 a.m. In 4 hours, Jessica would knock on my door with 3 children who barely knew me. 3 children who had been trained to see me as the poor grandmother, the boring grandmother, the grandmother who is not worth it. I smiled in the darkness. If I knew how to do anything after so many years, it was to transform children. And these 3 were about to discover who their grandmother Emily really was. At 7 o'clock sharp, the doorbell rang. It was not 7:05 or 7:10. Jessica was always punctual when it suited her. I opened the door, and there they were. 3 children with unfriendly faces and suitcases bigger than them. I do not have time to chat. Jessica did not even cross the threshold. Jacob has a dust allergy. Sarah does not eat anything green, and Noah needs his iPad to sleep. Their medicines are in the blue suitcase. I will be back in 2 weeks. And Michael? Is he not coming to say goodbye to his children? Michael is working as always. Someone has to support this family. She looked me up and down. Not everyone has the luck to retire with a government pension. My pension, $2,000 a month after 35 years of service. Jessica spent more than that on her nails and eyelash extensions. The children entered dragging their feet. Jacob, 12 years old with his cell phone glued to his face. Sarah, 10, with a permanent look of disgust. And Noah, 7, already looking for the television. "Behave yourselves with your grandmother," Jessica said without any conviction. Then she leaned in and whispered, "And do not think about filling their heads with ideas. Remember, I decide if they see you again or not." She left without saying goodbye to her children. Not a kiss, not a hug, only the sound of her heels walking away and the engine of her brand new SUV. I stood there with 3 children looking at me as if I were the enemy. And then I remembered all the moments Jessica had built this wall between us. Like that time 3 years ago when I wanted to give Michael $5,000 for the down payment on a used car. Jessica intercepted the money. "Oh, mother-in-law, we better use it for the kids' tuition. Education comes first. Do you not think? I never saw a receipt for that tuition." A month later, Jessica appeared with a Louis Vuitton bag. "A friend gave it to me," she said when I asked. "A friend?" "Sure. Or when my sister Rose died and left me $10,000. I told Michael excitedly, thinking about finally fixing the roof of my house that leaked every storm. Jessica found out. Mother-in-law Michael and I are in a difficult situation. The company where I work went bankrupt, another one of her failed MLM schemes, and we urgently need that money. We will pay you back with interest. Interest? 2 years have passed and I have not seen a dime. My roof still leaks and now I have to put buckets every time it rains. But Jessica's trip to Cancun with her friends last year that she could pay for. Grandma, where is the Wi-Fi? Jacob snapped me out of my thoughts. I need the Wi-Fi now. The modem is broken. I lied. I had unplugged it on purpose. What? It cannot be. Mom, Mom. He started screaming as if he were being tortured. Your mom is already gone, Jacob, and screaming is not going to bring the internet back. You are the worst grandmother in the world. That is why nobody loves you. There it was. Jessica's poison coming out of my grandson's mouth. It did not hurt me. I was already prepared. I am hungry, interrupted Sarah. But I am not going to eat anything you cook. Mom says you cook horribly, and that is why Dad is so skinny. And I want to watch YouTube, added Noah. At home, I watch YouTube all day. I looked at the three of them. Perfect products of neglect disguised as modern parenting. Children who knew no limits, who did not understand respect, who had been programmed to despise me. But then I remembered the exact moment Jessica crossed the final line. It was last Christmas. I had prepared my specialty roast turkey with gravy green bean casserole fruit punch. I had cooked for 2 days. I arrived at her house with the dishes still hot. The kids ran to the kitchen, attracted by the smell. Do not touch that, screamed Jessica. We do not know in what conditions your grandmother prepared it. We better order pizza. Pizza? On Christmas Eve? I watched as she threw my food in the trash without even tasting it. The children looked at me with pity as if I were a beggar who had brought scraps. It is just that Grandma's food is very greasy, Jessica explained to them, and her kitchen has cockroaches. Lie. My kitchen is cleaner than an operating room, but Michael was there watching it all and only said Jessica knows what is best for the children. That night I decided my son was lost, but my grandkids maybe still had salvation. Grandma, do something. We are bored. Jacob threw a cushion on the floor. You know what? I told them calmly. Your mom asked me to take care of you, not to entertain you. There is food in the kitchen, water in the tap, and beds to sleep in. If you need anything else, you will have to earn it. Earn it? Sarah seemed offended. We are children. We do not have to earn anything. In this house, everyone contributes. That is how I was raised. That is how I raised your dad, before your mom spoiled him, and that is how these 2 weeks are going to work. I am going to tell my mom you are mean, threatened Noah. Tell her. And while you are at it, tell her I found her Facebook page very interesting, especially the photos from Puerto Vallarta last month when she was supposedly at a training course. The children fell silent. They did not understand what I was talking about, but they sensed their grandmother was not the same as before. That first night was hell. Jacob kicked his bedroom door. Sarah cried for hours, demanding her special food. Noah wet the bed on purpose. They wanted to break me just like their mother had tried to break me for years, but that was when I made the discovery that would change everything. At 2 a.m, I heard sobbing from Sarah's room. It was not a tantrum, it was real tears. I entered silently and found her hugging a crumpled photo. What do you have there, my child? She jumped and hid the photo under the pillow. Nothing. Go away. But I had seen enough. It was a photo of me with her when she was a baby, one of the few times I could hold her before Jessica started her campaign of alienation. "Do you miss your mom?" I asked, sitting on the edge of the bed. "No," she answered very fast. Too fast. Mom always leaves. I am used to it. I am used to it. There it was. The first crack in the armor. Jessica had not only abandoned me, she had abandoned her own children using money and gifts as a substitute for love. "Sarah, how often does your mom go on trips?" "I do not know, once a month, sometimes more. She always says it is for work, but nothing. I should not talk about that. Mom says family problems are not told to others. Family problems are not told. The golden rule of abusers, silence." I stood up and walked to the door. Before leaving, I turned around. "Sarah, would you like to learn how to make the nut cookies you liked so much when you were little?" Her eyes lit up for a second before turning off. "Mom says your kitchen is dirty. Your mom says many things. Why do not you check for yourself tomorrow?" I closed the door, leaving Sarah with her thoughts. The first seed was planted. What I did not know then was that Jacob's phone, the one he could not use without Wi-Fi, had messages that would reveal Jessica's darkest secret. Messages that would explain why she had really gone to Miami. And when I discovered them, I understood that I was not only saving my grandkids, I was saving my entire family from a woman who was much more dangerous than I ever imagined. The second day dawned differently. I already had my plan in motion. At 6 in the morning, before the children woke up, Linda arrived with a shoebox. "Here is everything you asked for," she whispered, handing me the package. 3 recorders the size of a button, a camera that looks like a smoke detector, and this. She took out a manila envelope. "The credit records you asked for. Emily, your daughter-in-law, has debts of $30,000, all in Michael's name." My heart sank. My poor son had no idea. "And your sister from Child Protective Services? She comes tomorrow at 3 like a casual routine visit. But Emily, you need concrete evidence if you want to do something legal." Evidence. That was exactly what I was going to get. When the children woke up, breakfast was on the table. Pancakes shaped like animals, fruit chopped into little stars, chocolate milk. Not the horrible food their mom had told them I made. Jacob was the first to come down, still in his wrinkled pajamas. He stopped dead when he saw the table. "What is this?" "Breakfast. Eat before it gets cold." He sat down, suspicious, took a bite, and for the first time I saw something resembling a smile. But he immediately composed himself. "It is okay. I have eaten better." Sarah and Noah came down, attracted by the smell. Noah threw himself directly at the pancakes. "They are delicious, Grandma." "Shut up, stupid," Sarah elbowed him. "We should not." She fell silent. "You should not what, Sarah?" "Nothing." After breakfast, I set my rules if you want Wi-Fi television or any privilege you have to earn it. "Jacob, your job is to wash the dishes. Sarah, make the beds. Noah, pick up the toys." "That is child exploitation," screamed Jacob. "No, my child exploitation is what I see on your mom's cell phone." I took out my phone and showed a screenshot of Jessica's Facebook. "Look, here is your mom in Miami, at the beach, with a man who is not your dad." The 3 children came closer to look. In the photo, Jessica was in a bikini hugging a man who was definitely not Michael. The hashtag said, #NewLife, #FinallyFree. "That is Uncle Brad," said Noah innocently. "Mom's friend who sometimes comes when Dad works." Jacob covered his mouth quickly, but it was too late. The second piece of the puzzle had just fallen into place. "Uncle Brad," I asked casually, "how often does Uncle Brad come? We should not talk about that." Jacob looked at me with panic. "Mom said if we told about Uncle Brad, Dad would get very sad and could die of sadness." My God, the level of manipulation was worse than I thought. "Kids, your dad is not going to die of sadness. Adults do not work like that. But I need you to tell me the truth about everything. It is important." "Why?" Sarah crossed her arms. "Why do you want to know?" "Because I love you, and when you love someone, you protect them. And right now, you need protection." It was Noah who broke first. The youngest, the most innocent, the one who was not yet completely contaminated. "Grandma, why does Mom say you are mean if you make such yummy pancakes? I do not know, my love. What else does your mom say about me? She says you are poor and embarrassing. That is why we cannot visit you. She says your house smells bad and that you are a bitter old woman who ruined Dad's life." Every word was a stab, but I kept my composure. I discreetly installed the first recorder under the dining table. "And what do you think? Your house smells like cinnamon and coffee," said Sarah quietly. "It smells like home." That afternoon, while the children did their assigned tasks, complaining but doing them, I checked Jacob's cell phone. I had forgotten that kids these days save everything in the cloud. With a little patience, I accessed his Google account. What I found froze my blood. WhatsApp conversations between Jessica and this Brad. They were not just lovers. They were planning something much worse. "I almost have everything ready," wrote Jessica. "Michael signed the papers without reading as always. The house is already in my name." And the brats answered Brad. "I will leave them with the old lady as soon as she gives me the divorce. After all, Michael works so much he does not even see them. He won't be able to ask for custody. But we need more money to move to Miami permanently. The old lady has a house. It is worth at least $200,000. When she dies, Michael inherits, and as his wife, half is mine. Or was mine. We will see how we manage to keep everything." I kept reading. Jessica had taken out 3 credit cards in Michael's name. She had sold the car that was in his name and told him it had been stolen. She had even tried to take out a loan using my house as collateral, but needed my signature. That is why the monthly trips. They were not for work. They were to meet Brad in different cities. They had gone to Cancun, Puerto Vallarta, Playa del Carmen, all paid with the money Michael killed himself working for. I took photos of everything, every message, every photo, every piece of evidence. My friend Linda was right. I needed to document everything. That night during dinner, I decided to test the children. "What would you like to do tomorrow?" "Go home," answered Jacob automatically. "To which house? To your dad's or Uncle Brad's?" Sarah's fork fell to the plate. "No, I do not know what you are talking about." "Sarah, my love, I know it is difficult, but I need you to tell me the truth. Does Uncle Brad live with you?" "No. Well, sometimes when Dad travels for work, he stays to take care of us." "In the guest room?" Noah let out a nervous giggle. "No, Grandma. He sleeps in Mom and Dad's room, and he does not let us enter, and they make weird noises." Jacob stood up from the table furious. "Shut up, Noah. Mom said not to say anything, and what else did your mom tell you not to say?" It was then that Sarah broke. Tears began to fall like a waterfall. That Dad is boring, that Uncle Brad is more fun, that soon we are going to have a new house with a pool, that we are not going to be poor like Dad anymore, that we are not going to end up like you, Grandma, living in an ugly old house. I hugged her. For the first time in years, my granddaughter allowed me to hug her, and she cried. She cried like the 10-year-old girl. She was not like the little robot Jessica had tried to create. Grandma whispered Jacob, and for the first time there was no hostility in his voice. "Does Dad know?" "No, my love. Your dad knows nothing. Are you going to tell him? I am going to do something better. I am going to make sure you are okay, that your dad is okay, and that your mom, well, that your mom gets exactly what she deserves." That night, after putting the kids to bed, and for the first time none protested, I called Michael. "Hi, Mom. How are the kids? Jessica told me you offered to watch them." "I offered?" The liar had twisted everything. "They are fine, son. Hey, could you come tomorrow after work? There is something about the house I need to discuss with you. Is it urgent?" Jessica asked me not to bother her on her work trip. It is about a leak in the roof. It could affect the structure. It was not entirely a lie. There was a leak, but not in the roof. "Okay, Mom. I will arrive around 7. I hung up and looked at the calendar. 12 days left until Jessica returned. 12 days to dismantle 10 years of lies, manipulation, and psychological abuse. But now I had something I did not have before 3 children who were starting to see the truth. And the truth, as the saying goes, always comes to light. Tomorrow, the psychologist would come. Michael would see the evidence, and the house of cards Jessica had built would begin to crumble. The war was just beginning, but for the first time in years, I had all the weapons to win it. The third day began with an explosion, literally. Noah had found the fireworks I kept for New Year's and decided to light one inside the house at 5 in the morning. "Grandma, the house is burning," screamed Sarah. I ran with the extinguisher that, thank God, I always keep in the kitchen. The firework had scorched the dining room curtain and filled everything with smoke. Noah was standing in the middle of the chaos laughing. It is fun. Like on YouTube. Fun. You could have burned the house down, Noah? So what? It is an ugly house anyway. Mom said when you die, she is going to sell it and buy us a better one. There it was, Jessica's pure poison coming out of my 7-year-old grandson's mouth. But this time, it did not hurt. It gave me fuel. You know what, Noah? You are right. It is an old house. Do you know why? Because in this house, I raised your dad alone after your grandfather died. In this house, I sewed uniforms until 3 in the morning to pay for his studies. In this ugly kitchen, I prepared 1,000 lunches with love so your dad never went to school with an empty stomach. The boy stopped laughing. And if your mom thinks she is going to keep this house, she is very wrong. Because yesterday, I changed my will. I am leaving everything to a foundation for orphan children. Children who would value having a roof. You cannot do that, screamed Jacob, who had run down. That house is our inheritance. Inheritance? You who never visit me, who despise me, who treat me like a servant, want inheritance? Mom says it is our right. I took out my cell phone and played the recording I had made the day before of their conversation at dinner. Their own voices filled the room. Dad is boring. Uncle Brad is more fun. We are not going to be poor like Dad anymore. The three stood petrified. You recorded our conversation? Sarah was pale. I recorded everything, my child, every word, every confession, because when your mom returns and tries to turn everything against me, I am going to have proof. It was then that Jacob exploded. And it was not pretty. You are a nosy old woman. That is why Dad never visits you. That is why Mom hates you. You are a bitter woman who cannot stand seeing anyone happy. He started throwing things. The vase my mother gave me, the picture frames on the shelf, my retirement diploma, all while shouting obscenities no 12-year-old boy should know. I hate you. I hate you. I hope you die. Sarah joined the chaos. She went to the kitchen and started throwing plates on the floor. If you do not give us Wi-Fi right now, we are going to destroy your whole house. Noah, not wanting to be left behind, grabbed my photo albums and started ripping the pages. Photos of my wedding, of Michael as a baby, of my parents who are no longer here, pieces of my history flying through the air like macabre confetti. I stood in the middle of the hurricane, calm, observing. The hidden camera Linda had installed was recording everything. After 20 minutes of destruction, the three were exhausted, panting among the rubble of my living room. Are you finished? I asked calmly. They looked at each other, confused by my lack of reaction. Now you are going to clean everything. Every broken piece, every destroyed photo. And while you do it, you are going to think about this. Your mom left you here because she does not want you. If she wanted you, she would not have gone with Uncle Brad to Miami. If she wanted you, she would not use you as weapons against your dad. If she wanted you, she would not teach you to hate the only person who really cares about you. You do not care about us, screamed Jacob. Oh no. Who do you think convinced your dad not to sell the house when he lost his job 3 years ago? Who lent him money to pay your tuition when Jessica spent the money on her trips? Who has been saving money for your college since you were born? I took 3 savings books out of the drawer, one in each name. Jacob $5,000, Sarah $4,000, Noah $3,000. Every month from my $2,000 pension, I save $100 for each of you. Since I cannot see you, at least I can secure your future. But you know what? Tomorrow I am going to the bank to cancel these accounts. That money I'm going to give to children who do value other people's effort. Jacob grabbed his book with trembling hands. $5,000? For me? They were for you. Not anymore. It was Sarah who broke first. Grandma, we did not know. You did not know, or you did not want to know. It is easier to believe your mom's lies than to think for yourselves, right? At that moment, the doorbell rang. It was Laura Linda's sister from Child Protective Services. Good morning, Mrs. Miller. I am here regarding the call we received about possible child neglect. The children turned white. Come in, officer. As you can see, the children just had an episode. Laura observed the destruction, took out her camera, and started taking photos. The children did this. Mom says it is their way of expressing themselves, murmured Noah. Your mom encourages them to destroy other people's property? Mom says Grandma is old and it does not matter what she thinks, answered Sarah. Laura took notes. And where is your mom now? In Miami. On a work trip, said Jacob automatically. Work? I took out my cell phone and showed Jessica's Facebook. New photo, she and Brad toasting on a yacht. A lot of work, as you can see. Laura reviewed the photos, the conversations I had printed, the bank statements with the debts. Her expression became increasingly serious. Children, I need to speak with each of you separately. While Laura interviewed the children, I picked up the pieces of my torn photos. Each fragment was a memory, but they did not hurt anymore, because now I understood that I was not losing the past. I was recovering the future. An hour later, Laura came out of the room where she had been with Jacob. Mrs. Miller, these children are suffering severe emotional abandonment. The psychological manipulation is evident. The oldest is on the verge of depression. The girl has chronic anxiety and the little one. Well, the little one is acting out what he sees. What can I do? For now, document everything. When the father comes, I need to speak with him. And when the mother returns, well, I am going to have to open a formal investigation. After Laura left, I found the 3 children sitting on the stairs. They no longer looked like the little tyrants who had arrived. They looked like what they really were, scared and abandoned children. Are they going to take us away from our dads? Asked Noah with a trembling voice. I sat with them on the stairs. No, my love. No one is going to separate you from your dad. But things are going to change. It is going to hurt. Change always hurts. But sometimes it is necessary. Grandma Jacob would not look me in the eyes. About Uncle Brad, Dad is going to die of sadness if he finds out. No, my child. Your dad is stronger than you think, and he deserves to know the truth. We all deserve the truth. That afternoon, while they cleaned the mess they had made this time without protesting, I heard Sarah whisper to Jacob, "What if Grandma is right? What if Mom really does not love us?" "Shut up," answered Jacob, but his voice no longer had conviction. Mom has to love us. She is our mom." But even he doubted now. The armor of lies was starting to crack. That night after dinner, in silence, Noah approached me with something in his hands. It was a torn photo he had tried to stick with tape. The photo of his dad on his graduation day. "I am sorry, Grandma. I tried to fix it." I hugged him. For the first time since he arrived, my youngest grandson hugged me back. We can fix many things, Noah. But first we have to accept that they are broken. And in a few hours, when Michael arrived, the real reconstruction would begin, stone by stone, truth by truth, until nothing remained of Jessica's castle of lies. Michael arrived at 7:15. He came directly from work with his engineer uniform stained with grease and his eyes sunken from fatigue. When I saw him at the door for a moment, I saw the 8-year-old boy crying because the other kids made fun of his patched shoes. "Hi, Mom. Where are the kids?" "Doing homework in the dining room." "Michael, sit down. We need to talk. Is it about the leak? Can I check it quickly?" "It is not the leak in the roof, son. It is the leak in your marriage." He froze. "What are you talking about?" I put a folder on the table. Inside, the screenshots of Jessica's conversations with Brad, the credit card statements she had taken out in his name, the Facebook photos of her work trip in Miami. Michael took the papers with trembling hands. With each page, he turned his face, lost more color. This has to be a mistake. Jessica is at a sales conference. Michael, my love, Jessica is in Miami with her lover. The children know. They have known for months. The children? His voice broke. Him, Uncle Brad, who comes to watch them when you travel. The one who sleeps in your bed. The one your children have had to endure in silence because their mother threatened them that you would die of sadness if you found out. I saw the exact moment my son broke. He did not cry. He did not scream. He just sank into the chair as if someone had cut the strings, holding him up. "I am an idiot," he whispered. "A complete idiot. No son. You are a man who trusted the wrong person. But now you have to be strong. For your children." "Dad?" Jacob was at the door. He had heard everything. Michael looked up, and for the first time in years, he really looked at his son. Not the spoiled child Jessica had created, but the scared teenager who desperately needed his father. Jacob's son, We already knew, Dad. We have known for a long time. Sarah and Noah appeared behind their brother. The three stood in the doorway as if they were afraid to approach. "Come here." Michael opened his arms. And for the first time I do not know how long I saw my grandkids run to hug their father. The four cried together while I prepared coffee. Sometimes tears are the first step to healing. That night, after Michael took the children to sleep early, I stayed alone planning the next phase. Jessica had underestimated the retired teacher, but now the teacher was going to give her a lesson she would never forget. The following days were intense. Michael took vacation the first in 3 years and practically moved into my house with the children. Together, we implemented what I called Project Respect. First schedules. Up at 7, breakfast at 8, educational activities, lunch, free time, earned with good behavior dinner, and bed at 9. But at home, we sleep whenever we want. Protested Sarah the first day. "That is why you are how you are," I responded. "The brain needs routine to feel safe." Second responsibilities. Each child had tasks appropriate for their age. Jacob helped with the garden. Sarah in the kitchen, Noah organized the games. "This is exploitation," murmured Jacob while pruning the plants. "No, this is family," corrected Michael. "In a family, everyone contributes. Third, real consequences. If they did not comply, no Wi-Fi. If they screamed, time out. If they broke something, they repaired it or paid with their allowance. But most importantly, family sessions with the psychologist Linda had recommended. Dr. Patricia came to the house 3 times a week. "These children have been used as pawns in a sick game," she told me after the 3rd session. "The mother has conditioned them to reject any authority that is not hers, but paradoxically, she herself is absent. It is a classic case of parental alienation combined with emotional neglect. Can it be reversed? With time, patience, and a lot of love. But yes, it can. And little by little, it started to work." On the 5th day, Sarah asked me to teach her how to make nut cookies. While we were kneading, she started talking. "Grandma, why does Mom hate you so much? She does not hate me, my child. She fears me. She fears you? Why? Because I represent everything she is not. I worked all my life, built something with my hands, raised a son with values. She wants everything easy, fast, without effort. And when someone like me exists, it reminds her that she chose the wrong path. Is Mom a bad person?" I pondered my answer. "Your mom is lost. She made wrong decisions, and now she is so deep in her lies she does not know how to get out. But that does not justify the harm she has done to you." On the 7th day, Jacob approached while I was sewing Noah's uniform. "Grandma, can I ask you something?" "Of course, my child. Why did you never defend yourself? All these years when Mom spoke badly of you, why did you never say anything? Because I thought keeping the peace was more important than being right. It was a mistake. Sometimes silence is not peace, it is complicity with abuse. Do you regret it?" "I regret not acting sooner, but I do not regret acting now." On the 8th day, something extraordinary happened. Noah, my youngest grandson, the most damaged by neglect, brought me a drawing. It was our family, Michael, the 3 kids, and me in the center. Jessica did not appear. "And your mom?" I asked softly. "Mom is traveling," he answered. "She is always traveling." "But you are always here." That night, Michael and I had a conversation we should have had years ago. "Mom, I am so sorry. I failed you as a son. No, Michael, I failed you as a mother. I should have taught you to recognize the signs. I should have protected you better. How did I not see what was happening? Because love blinds us, son. And because manipulators are experts at making us doubt our own perception. What am I going to do when she returns? That is what we are preparing for. I have a plan. And boy, did I have a plan." With Linda's help, I had contacted a lawyer specializing in divorces involving parental alienation. With Laura from Child Protective Services, we had a complete file. With Dr. Patricia, we had psychological evaluations of the children. On the 9th day, the children did something that left me speechless. They organized a dinner for their dad and me. They cooked with supervision, set the table, even made a centerpiece with flowers from the garden. It is to say, "Thank you," explained Jacob, no longer a trace of the hostile boy who had arrived. "Thank you for not giving up on us." During dinner, Michael took out his cell phone. Jessica messaged me. She says she arrives in 5 days and hopes the kids are ready. Ready for what? Asked Sarah. Michael looked at me. It was time to tell them, "Kids, when your mom returns, things are going to change a lot. Dad is going to ask for a divorce." I expected crying protest drama. Instead, Noah asked, "Are we going to be able to keep coming to Grandma's?" "You are going to live with me," said Michael, "and you are going to see your grandma every day if you want." "And Mom?" Jacob tried to sound indifferent, but I saw the pain in his eyes. "Your mom will have to make decisions, but whatever happens, you are going to be okay. I promise you." That night, while tucking Noah in, he told me, "Grandma, you know what? I do not miss the iPad anymore." It was a small miracle, but big changes always start with small miracles. 5 days left for Jessica's return. 5 days to finish preparing everything. Because when she crossed that door, she would not find the broken children she had left, nor the submissive mother-in-law she expected to manipulate. She would find a united family, strong and ready for battle. And I, the retired old teacher, who according to her did nothing, was about to give her the most important lesson of her life. Never ever underestimate the power of true love over manipulation. The 10th day began with a revelation that changed everything. Sarah came to my room at 6 in the morning with red eyes from not sleeping. "Grandma, I need to tell you something. Something I have not told even Dad." I sat on the bed and hugged her. "What is wrong, my child?" "Mom." Mom has another cell phone, one Dad does not know about. She hides it in her makeup bag. One day I saw it by accident and... She fell silent, trembling. "And what did you see?" "Photos. Many photos. Of her with Uncle Brad. But also there were documents, papers from a bank in Miami, and something about a house she bought there." My heart stopped. "A house in Miami?" "Yes. And there was more. An email from a lawyer about custody. Mom wants to take us to live in Miami with Uncle Brad. It said something about Mexico not having an extradition treaty for civil cases or something like that. My God, Jessica not only planned to abandon Michael, she planned to steal the children and disappear. Is there anything else I should know?" Sarah hesitated, then took something out of her pajamas. It was a USB drive. I copied everything. I do not know why I did it. Maybe because deep down I knew someday someone would need to see it. I hugged her tight. My 10-year-old granddaughter had to carry this secret alone, being braver than many adults. I plugged the USB into my old computer. What we found was devastating. Not only was there evidence of the house in Miami, bought in Brad's name with money Jessica had been siphoning from the joint accounts for 2 years, there was also a detailed plan. Phase 1, convince M that I need a training trip to Miami. Phase 2, during my absence, Brad will empty the house of everything valuable. Phase 3, upon returning, I will provoke a fight with the old lady. I will make it look like she mistreated the children. Phase 4, I will use that to justify leaving with the children for their safety. Phase 5, once in Miami, there is no return. But the worst was in an audio file. It was Jessica talking to someone on the phone. I do not care if the brats cry for their dad. In 2 months they will forget. Besides, Michael is so pathetic he will not even fight. And if he does, I have edited videos where it looks like he hits Jacob. Technology works miracles, friend. Sarah was crying. Mom was going to say, Dad hit us? Your mom was willing to do anything to get her way, but Dad has never touched us. Never. I know my love. That is why I recorded everything since you arrived, to protect you and your dad. At that moment, Jacob entered. What are you talking about? Sarah told him everything. I saw the fury grow in my oldest grandson's eyes. I am going to kill her? I am going to... No, Jacob. You are not going to do anything violent. That is exactly what she wants. What reaction is bad to use it against you? We are going to be smarter than her. How? With the truth and with the law on our side. I immediately called the lawyer I had contacted. When I explained the situation, he told me to come immediately with Michael. While we waited for Michael, who had gone to run some errands, Noah joined us in the living room. Why are everyone sad? We are not sad, my love, I told him. We are preparing ourselves. For what? To protect our family. Noah stood thinking. Then he said something that broke my heart. Grandma, I know Mom does not love me. Once I heard her tell Uncle Brad that I was a mistake, that if it were not for me, she would already be free. 7 years old. My 7-year-old grandson had heard his own mother call him a mistake. Noah, look at me. You are not a mistake. You are a gift. And if your mom cannot see it, it is her loss, not yours. Then why did she have me? Jacob answered before me to trap Dad. Mom got pregnant with you just when Dad had asked for a divorce the first time. Dad had already wanted a divorce? Sarah was surprised. 3 years ago. I heard them fighting. Dad had discovered that Mom had spent Grandpa David's insurance money on a trip with her friends. But then Mom told him she was pregnant with Noah, and Dad stayed. I started connecting dots. David's life insurance. I never knew how much it was, but Michael had told me he would save it for the kids' education. Now I understood where it had gone. Michael arrived with his face undone. Mom, I went to the bank. Jessica emptied our savings account yesterday. $38,000. Everything we had saved in 10 years. Sit down, son. There is more you need to know. I showed him everything. The documents, the audios, the plan. With every piece of evidence, Michael seemed to age years. How could I be so blind? Dad Jacob sat next to him. It is not your fault. Mom is very good at lying. She fooled us all. But I am your father. I should have protected you. You are protecting us now, said Sarah. That is what matters. The lawyer arrived at noon. Mr. Martinez, a man of about 60 with a bulldog face but kind eyes. With all this evidence, we can not only prevent her from taking the children, but also request a restraining order. Attempted flight with minors is a serious crime. Besides financial fraud, we are talking about jail. I do not want her to go to jail, said Michael. I just want my children safe. Dad, she was going to accuse you of hitting us, Jacob reminded him. She was going to destroy you. Even so, I do not want your children to see their mother in prison. Martinez nodded. I understand. We can negotiate. She gives up custody, returns the money, and there are no criminal charges. But we need to act fast. If she suspects something? She arrives in 4 days, I said. Perfect. Enough time to prepare everything. After the lawyer left, we all sat in the living room. My little living room that had seen so much history. Kids started Michael. I want you to know that whatever happens with your mom, I am always going to be here. And your grandma, too. Is Mom going to go to jail? Asked Noah. We do not know, but she is going to have to face the consequences of her actions. Are we going to see her again? Sarah tried to sound indifferent, but it was her mother, after all. That will depend on her and on what the judge decides is best for you. That night, while eating stew that I had made with Sarah's help, Jacob said something that filled me with pride. "Grandma, thanks for not giving up, for fighting for us when not even we did it. I will always fight for you. Always." "You know," added Sarah, "these have been the best days of my life. For the first time, I feel like a family." "Me too," said Noah with his mouth full of stew, "and Grandma's food is not horrible. It is the best in the world." We laughed. For the first time in years, we laughed like a family. But while the kids watched a movie in the living room, Michael and I had a more serious conversation in the kitchen. "Mom, I am scared. What if Jessica becomes violent? What if she tries to take the children by force?" "That is why we have the plan. The day she arrives, the children will be at Linda's house. The police will be alerted. The lawyer will be present. She will not be alone with them for a minute. And if the kids miss her later? And if they hate me for separating them from their mother? The children will miss the mother they never had, not the one they have. And with therapy and love, they will heal. We will all heal." I looked at my grandkids in the living room, curled up on the couch, watching the movie. In 10 days, they had changed so much. They were no longer the little tyrants who had arrived. They were children, just children who needed love and limits. 3 days left for Jessica's return. 3 days to finish armoring these children legally. Because what Jessica did not know was that while she enjoyed herself in Miami, here, an army had been raised. An army of love, truth, and justice. And we were ready for war. The last 3 days before Jessica's return were the most intense and beautiful of my life. It was as if the universe had given us this time to build the foundations that should have existed from the beginning. Day 11 dawned rainy. While preparing breakfast, I found Jacob in the living room looking at a photo album he had rescued from the destruction of the first day. "That is Dad." He pointed to a photo where Michael was his age. Yes, he had just won the state math contest. "Look at his face of pride. He looks like me." "No, my child, you look like him. And not only physically, you have his intelligence, his nobility. Only you had buried it under pain." Jacob turned the page. There I was, 35 years old, with my first group of students. "You looked happy, Grandma." I was happy. Teaching was my passion, like cooking, like loving you. "Why did you let Mom take you away from us?" I sat next to him, out of cowardice. I thought if I did not make waves someday, she would change. But abusers do not change with submission. They get stronger. "Grandma, do you think I am like Mom? Sometimes I feel so much rage inside. Rage does not make you bad, Jacob. What you do with it is what defines who you are. Your mom uses her rage to harm. You can use it to protect, to build, to change what is wrong." That morning, we did something special. I taught them to cook my mother's mole sauce. 32 ingredients, 4 hours of preparation. A ritual I had waited to share with them for years. "Why is it so complicated?" asked Sarah while we ground the chilies. "The best things in life require time, patience, and love. There are no shortcuts for what is really worthwhile." Noah was in charge of toasting the spices. His little face of concentration was pure poetry. "It smells like Christmas," he said. "It smells like tradition," I corrected, "like history. This sauce was made by my great-grandmother, your great-great-grandmother. She survived the revolution, 2 world wars, and now lives in us. Are we history?" Noah seemed amazed by the idea. "We are living history, my love. Each of us carries the stories of those who came before." While we cooked, Michael worked at the dining table with the lawyer signing documents, preparing the legal strategy. From time to time, he looked at us with a sad smile. "Dad looks different," observed Sarah. "Your dad is waking up from a very long dream," I explained. "It hurts to wake up, but it is necessary." That afternoon, Dr. Patricia came for a special family session. I want each one to write a letter to Jessica, not to send it to her, but to get out what you carry inside. Jacob wrote 3 pages of fury, Sarah a page of questions. Noah drew his mom as a monster with suitcases instead of hands. Michael wrote only 1 line, I forgive you, but I do not allow you more harm. I wrote, I failed as a mother-in-law by not stopping you sooner. I will not fail as a grandmother. Now, said the doctor, I want you to burn them. Let go of the pain. In the backyard, under the light rain, we burned the letters in a clay pot. While the paper turned to ash, Noah asked, Are we free now? Now we start to be free, answered the doctor. Day 12 was practical preparation. Linda came with her sister Laura from Child Protective Services. The day Jessica arrives, the children will be at my house, explained Linda. It is better they do not witness the initial confrontation. But I want to see Mom's face when she realizes we know everything, protested Jacob. No, my love, I intervened. Revenge is not our goal. Protection is. Laura reviewed all the documents. With this, we can request emergency custody for Michael. Jessica won't be able to approach the children without judicial supervision. And if she comes with this, Brad Guy asked Michael, we will have a patrol car nearby. Any sign of violence, and they intervene. That night, while the children slept, I found Michael in the garden looking at the stars. What are you thinking, son? About Dad. Do you think he would be disappointed in me? Your father would be proud that you are finally doing the right thing. I took too long, but you arrived. That is what counts. Mom, how did you raise a son alone? How did you find the strength? I did not find it. I built it. Day by day, decision by decision, just like you are building it now. On day 13, the last day before Jessica's return, we decided to do something special, a real family day. We went to the park where I used to take Michael when he was a boy. The kids ran, played, got dirty. For the first time in years, I saw them simply being children. Grandma, look. Noah had climbed the highest tree. I can see the whole city. Be careful, I yelled, but Michael stopped me. Let him, Mom. He needs to feel brave. Sarah and I sat on a bench to eat corn with chili. Grandma, when Mom returns, all this is going to end. No, my child. This is just beginning. What is going to end is the fear, the manipulation, the lies. And if Mom cries, whenever she cries, Dad forgives her everything. Not this time. This time your dad has something stronger than your mom's manipulation. What? The truth. And you to protect. Jacob approached us with cotton candy for everyone. I spent my allowance, but it was worth it. That is my grandson, learning that giving is worth more than receiving. At sunset, we returned home. The children were exhausted but happy. While I prepared dinner, I heard them talking in the living room. Remember when Mom brought us here? Asked Noah. Mom never brought us here, answered Jacob. Mom never took us anywhere that was not the mall. But Grandma did, said Sarah. In just 13 days, Grandma has given us more than Mom in years. My heart swelled with love and sadness at the same time. During dinner, Michael made an announcement. Tomorrow is going to be a difficult day, but I want you to know that no matter what happens, we are family. And true families protect each other. Mom is not family, asked Noah, confused. Mom is your biological mother. But family? Family is who is here when things get difficult. Family is who loves you unconditionally. Then Grandma is more family than Mom, concluded Noah with the simple logic of children. That night, while tucking them in each one, told me something I will keep in my heart forever. Jacob said, Grandma, thanks for not giving up on me even though I was horrible to you. Sarah said, Grandma, I want to be like you when I grow up, strong and brave. Noah said, Grandma, can I call you Mom Emily? I already have a mom, but I need a real mom. I could not hold back the tears. You can call me whatever you want, my loves. I will always be your grandma who loves you. Michael and I stayed in the kitchen until late, reviewing the plan for the next day. At 10 in the morning, I take the children to Linda's house. At 11, the lawyer comes. At 11:30, the patrol will be on the corner. Jessica said she arrives at noon, and we will be ready. Before sleeping, I looked at the photos of these 13 days I had taken with my old cell phone. The transformation was impressive. From 3 broken and hostile children to 3 healing, laughing family children. Tomorrow, Jessica would return expecting to find her submissive mother-in-law and her emotionally abandoned children. Instead, she would find the consequences of her actions. She would find that true love is always stronger than manipulation. She would find that the family she had despised had become an impassable wall protecting the children she had used as weapons. And I, the retired old teacher, was ready to give the last lesson, the most important one, the definitive one. It was 11:58 in the morning. Michael and I were sitting in the living room with lawyer Martinez by our side. The documents were on the coffee table like soldiers ready for battle. My cell phone showed a message from Linda. The children are fine, playing in the garden. They suspect nothing. At 12:03, we heard the engine of Jessica's SUV. My heart was beating so fast I was sure Michael could hear it. "Calm down, Mom," he told me, taking my hand. "She no longer has power over us." The door opened without knocking. Classic Jessica entering as if it were her house. She came tanned with a new dress that probably cost more than my monthly pension, dragging a Louis Vuitton suitcase. "Oh, it is so hot," she exclaimed, without even looking at us. "Michael, what are you doing here? You should be working." "Where are the kids? I hope you have not spoiled them, Emily. I have enough work as it is." She fell silent upon seeing the lawyer. "Who is this?" Jessica Michael stood up. His voice was firm, nothing like the exhausted man who had arrived 13 days ago. "We need to talk." "Talk about what?" "I am tired from the trip. The kids and I are going home." "The kids are not here," I said calmly, "and they are not going anywhere with you." Her face changed. The mask of sweetness cracked a little. "Excuse me?" "Michael, what does this mean?" Lawyer Martinez cleared his throat. "Mrs. Jessica, I am Mr. Martinez. I represent Mr. Michael in the divorce process and emergency custody he has initiated." "Divorce?" She let out a nervous laugh. "Michael, darling, what did your mother do to you now? You know she is old and invents things." "No, Jessica." Michael took out his cell phone and pressed play on an audio. It was her own voice. "The brats are in my way. As soon as I can, I will get rid of them." Michael is such an idiot he does not even notice. Jessica's face lost all color. That is edited. It is illegal to record someone without their consent. It is also illegal to intervene the lawyer to take out credit cards in your husband's name without his knowledge. $30,000 in debts, ma'am. "I do not know what you are talking about." Michael put the statements on the table. 3 cards, Jessica. Everything documented. We also have, I continued, evidence of the house in Miami, the one you bought with Brad using the money you stole from the savings account. I did not steal anything. It is joint money. That you emptied without your husband's consent to buy a property in your lover's name, clarified the lawyer. That is marital fraud. Jessica looked at me with pure hate. "You. All this is your fault, you nosy old woman. You always wanted to separate me from Michael. No, Jessica, you separated yourself. I just documented your crimes." "Crimes? Please, what are you going to do? Sue me for being unhappy in my marriage?" "No," said Martinez, taking out another document. "For attempted international abduction of minors. We have your complete plan to take the children to Miami without paternal consent." Jessica staggered. She had to grab the back of the couch. "The children are mine. I gave birth to them. Children are not property," I answered. "And after 13 days with me, they made a decision. What did you do to them? Did you brainwash them? This is parental alienation." Michael laughed bitterly. "Parental alienation? Seriously? The woman who told our children their grandmother was a dirty and poor old woman talks about alienation? I want to see my children. Now." "No." Michael's voice was pure steel. "First, we are going to establish the rules. Martinez opened his briefcase. "Ma'am, you have two options. First, accept the divorce, give up custody, return the stolen money, and leave without making a scene. In exchange, we do not file criminal charges. And the second, we fight in court. With the evidence we have, you will not only lose the children, but you will face charges for fraud, attempted child abduction, and psychological violence. 3 to 5 years in jail." Jessica dropped onto the couch. For the first time since I met her, I saw her without a mask, and what I saw was pathetic and empty woman who had built her life on lies. "You cannot do this to me. I have rights." "The children also have rights," I said. "Right not to be manipulated, used, emotionally abandoned. I never abandoned them." "Oh no? How many trips have you taken this year, Jessica?" 18. "We have it documented. 18 times you left your children to go with Brad. That is a lie." I took out my cell phone and showed the Facebook photos. She and Brad on every trip while her children stayed with the neighbor, with anyone but their father or grandmother. The children know everything, Jessica. They know about Uncle Brad. They know he sleeps in their dad's bed when he is not there. They know you call them brats. They know you plan to take them to Miami. I want to talk to them. "Not as long as you do not sign the papers," said Michael. Jessica took out her cell phone. "I am going to call Brad. He is a lawyer. He is going to defend me." "Go ahead," said Martinez. "But I inform you that Brad has already been notified that he is involved in a fraud case. I doubt he wants to sink deeper." She dialed. Once, twice, 3 times. Brad did not answer. "He abandoned me," she whispered. "The wretch abandoned me." "Like you abandoned your family," I said. She stood up abruptly. "This is not going to stay like this. I am going to get my children back. I am going to—" "Mom?" We all turned around. In the doorway was Sarah. She had escaped from Linda's house. "My love." Jessica ran towards her, but Sarah backed away. "Do not touch me." "Sarah, my child, what did they do to you? What did this old woman tell you?" "Grandma did not tell me anything. You said it all. In your messages with Uncle Brad. In your lies. In every time you left us. I worked to give you a better life? No. You traveled with your lover while we believed we were orphans with living parents." Jacob and Noah appeared behind their sister. Linda came running behind them. "I am sorry, Emily. They escaped when I got distracted." "It is okay," I said. "Maybe they needed to do this." Jessica tried to approach Jacob. "Son, my love, your little sister is confused." "No, Mom. The one who is confused is you. If you think we are going back to you, I am your mother." "A mother does not call her son a mistake," said Noah with his little voice. "I heard you. You told Uncle Brad I was a mistake." Jessica paled. "No, I did not. You are inventing. A mother does not steal her children's college money," added Jacob. "A mother does not use us as an excuse for her lies," continued Sarah. "A mother protects us," the 3 said in unison, "like Grandma." The silence that followed was deafening. I could hear the tick-tock of the wall clock, the hum of the refrigerator, even Jessica's ragged breathing. "You are going to pay for this, Emily, I swear. You do not know who you are messing with. I know perfectly well who I am messing with a narcissist who confused kindness with weakness. But it is over, Jessica. Sign the papers and leave. And if I do not want to—" Michael stood up. "Then we see you in court, and believe me, with what we have, you will not only lose the children, you will lose everything." Jessica looked at her children one more time. For a moment it seemed she was going to cry. But narcissists do not cry for others, only for themselves. She grabbed the papers, signed them with fury, and threw them on the table. "I hope you are happy. You just took a mother away from these children." "No," answered Noah with a maturity improper for his 7 years. "We just gained a family." Jessica left, slamming the door. The engine of her SUV roared and drove away, taking 10 years of toxicity with it. The children ran to hug their dad. The 4 cried, hugging, while I prepared chamomile tea for everyone. Is she gone forever? asked Sarah. I do not know, answered Michael honestly. But if she returns, it will be on our terms. And if she does not return? Noah's voice trembled. I sat with them on the floor, something I had not done in years. If she does not return, we will keep moving forward. Because love is not begged for my children. Love is given freely, or it is not love. Jacob looked at me. Grandma, are you okay? I am better than okay, my child. For the first time in 10 years, this family is free. That night, while we ate the tamales, we had prepared days before, Michael raised his glass of hibiscus water. To Grandma, to the woman who saved us all. To Grandma screamed the children. But I raised my glass for something else. To the truth. Because in the end, the truth always wins. And while I looked at my family, my true family gathered around my humble table, I knew all the pain had been worth it. The teacher had given her last and most important lesson. It is never too late to defend what you love. 3 weeks had passed since Jessica left slamming the door. 3 weeks of peace that were broken one Thursday afternoon when she appeared without warning, but this time, she did not come alone. I was in the garden with the children teaching them to plant tomatoes when we heard voices at the entrance. I demand to see my children. I have a court order. Michael had gone to work. We were alone. But I was no longer the same defenseless woman as before. Kids go inside the house. Now. But Grandma? Began Jacob. Now. They obeyed. From the window, 3 scared little faces watched. In the entrance were Jessica, a man I assumed was Brad, and a woman with a folder. Mrs. Miller, the woman, introduced herself. I am from social services. We received a report of child abuse and neglect against you, of course. Jessica's counterattack. Perfect, I answered calmly. Come in, check whatever you want. Jessica smiled with malice. I also reported that my husband is an alcoholic and violent, and that you cover for him. Brad added, we have witnesses who will confirm everything. Witnesses? I laughed. Paid how much? The social worker, a young woman named Patricia, seemed uncomfortable. Ma'am, I need to speak with the children alone. Of course. But first, can I show you something? I took out my cell phone and played a video. It was from day 3 when the children destroyed my living room. It was clearly seen how I remained calm while they acted violently. This is what Jessica calls abuse, not responding to violence with violence. Patricia watched attentively. The children did this? Ask them. Ask them also why they did it. That proves nothing, screamed Jessica. This old woman has threatened them. At that moment, Michael arrived. He had left work early. Behind him came Lawyer Martinez, and to my surprise, Laura from Child Protective Services. Patricia Laura greeted her colleague. What are you doing here? Did we receive a report? Yes, we were notified. That is why I came. This family is under my supervision since 3 weeks ago. I have a complete file. Laura took out a thick folder. Psychological evaluations of the children therapy reports, evidence of emotional abandonment by the mother attempted international child abduction. That is false. Jessica was losing control. We also have this. Michael took out his cell phone. Recordings of Jessica admitting the reports are false. He pressed play. It was a conversation between Jessica and Brad from that same morning recorded because Brad, trying to save himself, had started recording everything. It does not matter if it is true or not, said Jessica's voice. I just need CPS to believe me to get the brats back. With them in my power, Michael will give me whatever I want. Brad went pale. You told me you did not know I was recording? Imbecile. Jessica slapped him. Patricia, the social worker, was open-mouthed. Mrs. Jessica, this is very serious. Making false reports is a crime. I want to talk to my children. Talk to them, I said. But from here. Kids, you can come out. The 3 came out holding hands. They stood 3 meters from their mother. Tell this lady the truth, ordered Jessica. Tell her how your grandmother mistreats you. Grandma taught us to cook, said Noah. Grandma listens to us, added Sarah. Grandma loves us, concluded Jacob. You just use us. She brainwashed them. It is parental alienation, Laura intervened. Mrs. Jessica, in my 20 years of experience, I have never seen such a clear case of projection. You accuse others of exactly what you do. I have something else to show, I said. I entered the house and came out with a box. These are all the cards, drawings, and letters the children have made for me in recent years, and that you threw in the trash. I rescued them from the bin when I came to visit. Look at the dates. Patricia reviewed the content. There were dozens of expressions of childhood love discarded. For my grandma, whom I cannot see, read a letter from Sarah from 2 years ago. I miss you, but Mom says you are busy, period. There is also this: Michael took out an envelope. The results from the private detective I hired. Jessica has been living a double life. Not only with Brad, she has profiles on 3 dating apps, all active. Brad exploded. What? You told me I was the only one. Shut up, idiot, Jessica was cornered. Patricia closed her folder. I have seen enough. Not only is there no evidence of abuse by Mrs. Miller or Mr. Michael, but there is clear evidence of manipulation and false reports by Mrs. Jessica. Furthermore, added Laura, I am going to recommend that the mother's visits be supervised and that the children continue in therapy. You cannot do this. Yes, we can, said Martinez. And there is more. Mrs. Jessica, you are being sued for fraud. The banks have already been notified of the fraudulent credit cards. Jessica looked at me with a hate that could melt steel. You. All this is your fault. No, Jessica. I just brought to light what you did in the dark. It was then that Brad spoke. I am leaving. Jessica, you lose. I am not going down with you. You cannot leave me. You promised we would be together. You promised you were rich, that the Miami house was yours. It was all a lie. Brad left, leaving Jessica alone in the garden. For the first time, I saw her as she really was, an empty woman who had bet everything on lies and lost. You have 5 minutes to leave, said Michael, or I call the police. Jessica approached the children one last time. Someday you will understand what you did to me, and you will regret it. No, answered Jacob with surprising maturity. Someday maybe you will understand what you did to us, and I hope you regret it. Jessica left. This time she did not slam the door. She left defeated, empty, alone. That night, while we had dinner, Sarah asked, Do you think Mom will change someday? I do not know, my love, answered Michael. But that is no longer our problem. Do you hate her? asked Noah. I thought well before answering. I do not hate her. I pity her. Imagine living your whole life without being able to love truly, without knowing real happiness. That is her prison, one she built herself. 6 months later, it was Saturday morning, and my house was full of laughter. Not only my grandkids, but 6 other neighborhood children. My living room, the same one that was once destroyed in a fit of rage, was now a small art workshop. Grandma Emily, look at my painting. A 5-year-old girl showed me her work, a smiling sun over a house. After the scandal with Jessica, the story became known in the neighborhood. But instead of negative gossip, I received support. And when I mentioned I miss teaching moms, started asking if I would give private lessons. Now I had Emily's Art Cottage, painting, crafts, and traditional cooking classes for children. I charged fairly $20 per class, but the real pay was seeing those happy faces. Mom Michael entered with coffee and cookies for everyone. He had changed so much. The exhausted and defeated man now smiled, had gained weight healthily, and his eyes shone. How is the class going? Perfect. Like everything lately. The divorce had been finalized 3 months ago. Jessica did not fight anymore, especially after the banks sued her and she had to declare bankruptcy. The last news we heard was from Sarah, who saw her on Facebook working as a caregiver for the elderly in another state. The irony is delicious, Jacob had commented when we found out. Now she has to take care of old people for minimum wage. Do not mock, I scolded them. Honest work dignifies. Maybe that will help her find herself. The children had blossomed. Jacob was on the honor roll, Sarah had joined the volleyball team, and Noah had discovered a natural talent for music. My old piano finally had someone to play it. Grandma Noah approached me during the class break. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course, my love." "Do you ever miss the mom she was before?" "Before what?" "Before turning bad." I sat with him in the garden, the same one where everything had exploded months ago. "Noah, your mom did not turn bad. She always had that seed inside. What happens is that some people choose to water the wrong seeds. She chose to water greed, lies, selfishness. And what seeds do we have? You have the seeds of love, honesty, bravery. And every day you spend here with your dad with me, those seeds grow stronger." That afternoon, after all the children left, my family stayed for the Saturday dinner that was now tradition. Michael cooked. He had discovered he had talent. The kids set the table, and I enjoyed watching them. "I have news," announced Michael during dessert. "I got promoted. Production manager. With the raise, I can pay all the debts Jessica left in a year." "Dad, that is incredible," shouted Sarah. "And there is more." I was thinking, Mom, what if we expand your little school? We could build a proper studio in the garden. "Michael, is that not necessary?" "Yes, it is. You saved my life, Mom, mine and my children's. It is the least I can do." Jacob stood up. "I have something to say, too. I wrote a letter for the school writing contest. It is about Grandma." He cleared his throat and read, "My hero does not wear a cape nor fly. My hero is 67 years old, has wrinkled hands from working so much, and the biggest heart in the world. My hero is my grandmother, who taught me that true love is not bought with expensive gifts or luxury trips. It is built with patience, with limits, with presence. My grandmother saved me from becoming a monster. She taught me that family is not just blood, it is choice. And I choose my grandmother today and always." I could not hold back the tears. Michael neither. Even Sarah, who pretended to be strong, cried. "I also wrote something," said Sarah, "but it is a poem. Once there was a lost girl in a world of humid lies. A grandmother arrived with true love and showed her a sincere path. Now the girl is no longer lost because she found love in the beloved grandmother. Noah did not want to be left behind. I did not write anything, but I made you this." He took out a drawing. It was all of us in front of the house holding hands. Above, he had written with his child handwriting, "My real family." That night, after everyone went to sleep, Michael and the kids stayed on weekends, I went out to the garden. The full moon illuminated my tomato plants that were already starting to bear fruit. I thought of David, my husband. I did it, my love. I raised our son. And now I am raising our grandkids. Not how we imagined, but I am doing it. I thought of Jessica alone somewhere taking care of elderly people for crumbs. "I hope you find peace," I whispered to the wind. "I hope one day you understand that love is not manipulated, it is cultivated." And I thought of myself, the retired teacher who did nothing anymore. I smiled. I had never done so much. I had never been so useful. I had never been so happy. The following Monday, while preparing the next art class, I received an unexpected call. "Mrs. Miller? This is the principal of Lincoln Elementary. We heard about your little art school. We were wondering if you would be interested in giving workshops here, too. Paid? Of course. Life was giving me back everything I had sown with interest. But the best reward came a month later. It was Mother's Day. I did not expect anything. I had never been much celebrated on that date. That morning, the children woke me up with breakfast in bed. "Happy Mother's Day, Mom Emily," they shouted. "But I am your grandmother." "You are more than that," said Michael from the door. "You are the mother we all needed." They handed me an envelope. Inside were legal papers. "What is this?" "The children want you to be their legal guardian, too," explained Michael. "In case something happens to me, they want to make sure they stay with you, not with Jessica." "It was our idea," clarified Jacob with pride. I cried. I cried like I had not cried since David died. But these were tears of pure joy. While we ate breakfast all together on my bed, which almost broke from the weight, Noah asked, "Grandma, are you happy?" I looked around. My recovered son, my healing grandkids, my house full of life and purpose. I am more than happy, my love. I am complete. And it was true, because in the end, it was not Jessica who lost. It was us who won. We won freedom. We won peace. We won true love. The teacher had given her last lesson, but the learning would continue forever. Because that is family, a classroom where we never stop learning to love. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that it is never too late to defend what you love, if it inspired you to set healthy boundaries, share it. Leave your comment telling us where you are reading from. Sometimes grandmothers who seem to do nothing are the ones holding the whole world together. And remember, respect is not begged, for it is earned. And when someone does not offer it, it is time to demand it. Subscribe for more real-life stories where true love always finds a way to win.